Hi, my name is Megan, and this is Everything Lit. And today I'm bringing you a book haul, which you might have guessed from my previous come book shopping with me video. I've been buying a lot of books, and I wasn't going to film it tonight, but I showered and my hair looks really good, so it's not going to look this good again. Of course, we have Vino. And Whiskey is visiting today, but I don't know if he'll come over here. He's still exploring the room, deciding if he likes it or not. And Vino is very unhappy that his brother is up here, because this is Vino's room and Vino only. This is all the books I've accumulated since like March or February. It might be February. We're gonna start with this giant stack of pre-orders that have come in. So starting with my earliest pre-orders, I have My Dear Henry by Kalynn Bayron. I've never read any of her books, but this is part of the Remixed Classics series, and this is a Jekyll and Hyde remix. I think it might be queer. I feel like a lot of these remixes do have queerness involved, so that's why I got it. I'm really just in it for this remixed series, and it is YA, and basically this boy, Gabriel, his friend Henry disappears. He gets expelled from school and kind of disappears, and then a little while later he meets someone named Jekyll who is strangely familiar. I have The Tobacco Wives by Adele Myers. This is historical fiction. This is about a woman who kind of exposes tobacco as bad for you, and I believe it's about the wives of these tobacco executives, and one woman putting together that all the symptoms they have is tobacco related and not good. I finally got To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara. This is the author's follow-up to A Little Life. This is a thick book. I don't think she can write anything less than 500 pages. From my understanding, this has 3 different timelines, all New York. You have 1893, 1993, and 2093. It just follows a few different characters in each of those timelines. It seems like a speculative but also historical fiction kind of story. I might read this for one of my I Like Big Books vlogs. Let me know if you'd be interested in that, because I have one coming up that's not this, but this could be later down the line. I picked up Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. This is the sequel to King of Scars in the Nikolai duology. It finally came out in softcover after like 2 years, and I have been putting off reading King of Scars because this was not out in softcover yet, and I didn't want to be even more tempted to buy the hardcover. So finally got it. Now I can read King of Scars. It is literally on my TBR this month. My pre-order for How I'll Kill You by Ren DeStefano came in. I'm so excited to read this. I'm hoping to get to it this month. This is about 3 sisters who are serial killers and constantly on the run, and then I think one of the sisters actually falls in love with someone. The blurbs on here are intense, and I am very excited. This is kind of a pen name for an author that I really love, so I cannot wait to read a different kind of story from them. I have In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. This is his newest release. I don't know much about this. I do know it is found family. I think there is a little robot. So there are these 3 robots that live in a tree, and one is a inventor android. There is a nurse robot, and then a little vacuum that's desperate for love and attention. And then there's a human who lives there too. And I think that the human finds another robot, or the little robot like takes them on a journey. It sounds like it's going to be weird, sci-fi, and adorable. I got Spellbound by F.T. Lukens. I have read F.T. Lukens' 2 other YA fantasy books, and I really liked both of them. So this is more magical. It is about these 2 magicians who are dueling or competing for the same position. Maybe also it involves a mystery. I got Stars and Smoke by Marie Lu. I have never read a Marie Lu book. I think I have another one, might have 2, but I've never read them because I just buy books. That's what I do here. This is a spy story So this spy group approaches this pop star and says, hey, you're going to perform at this guy's daughter's birthday party, and you're going to get us in there so that we can spy on this guy and take him down. It sounds, if anyone has seen Operation Fortune, the Guy Ritchie movie, just came out in like March. Sounds like a YA version of that, and hopefully this is better because I have The Fiancé Farce by Alexandria Bellafleur. This is about a woman who cannot inherit her family's publishing company unless she's married, so she finds a girl and they get engaged and get fake married, and then it's a romance between two women, and it takes place in the publishing sphere, so it's going to be bookish. I grabbed Stars Collide by Rachel Lacey. This is a romance. It is sapphic, and it is about an older pop star who wants to reinvigorate her image and a younger pop star, and they are teaming up to perform at the Grammys. And then I think they fall, like sparks fly, they fall in love. I grabbed Jana Goes Wild by Farrah Heron. I loved Accidentally Engaged, and I've bought every other book of hers, and I haven't read them yet. This is no different. I bought it. I'm gonna read it eventually. This is about a woman going to a destination wedding in the Serengeti National Park. She has a 5-year-old daughter, so we've got a single mom trope, and she might be reconnecting with the father of her kid because they were young, things happen. I'm not a huge fan of second chance romance, but this sounds very cute, and the Serengeti, like the setting, sounds really fun. I have Melt With You by Jennifer Dugan. This is a YA, another sapphic story. This is a contemporary. So this is about a girl who is very type A and then a girl who is happy-go-lucky, and they used to be best friends, but they hooked up last summer before leaving for college, and now it is the summer after their first year of college, and they are working at this ice cream truck. The drama. I pre-ordered The Ghosts of Rose Hill by R.M. Romero. I will buy anything with ghosts in it. Let's just be real. This is a book in verse. I'm not 100% sure what it's about anymore. And the tagline says, "The final girl survives because she can be just as ruthless as the monster who wants to destroy her." Okay. Oh, and we did get Whiskey to say hi. Hi, buddy. He is not happy to be up here. I know. Hold on. You're fine. He really wants out. He's very jumpy. And my most recent pre-orders that literally arrived today, because I swear I have pre-orders coming like every week. It's very exciting. As if I wasn't already excited to get home from work, and then I know that a book is waiting for me. So The Boyfriend Candidate by Ashley Winstead arrived, and this is about a shy librarian. She meets a stranger at a bar. I believe they have a one-night stand, and then the hotel catches fire. He carries her out. It turns out he's running for a Texas political office, so it's not great for his image if he's a playboy one-night stand. So they have to fake date for the image. It sounds awesome. I'm so excited. And then we have When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. This is a alternate history fantasy. It takes place in 1955. Hundreds of thousands of women have sprouted wings, scales, and talons and took to the skies as dragons. So it is a speculative novel that explores rage, memory, and the tyranny of forced limitations. It sounds so cool, sounds so feminist, and I've heard good things about this author. I have one of her middle grades, but I would have bought this in hardcover. That's how excited I was if any of my Barnes & Nobles had it when they had their 50% off hardcover sale. But I couldn't find it, so I pre-ordered the paperback, and here it is. The next set of books are books that I got secondhand. I went to visit a friend in Tennessee at the beginning of April, and we went to this amazing bookstore, McKay's in Knoxville. There were so many books. Oh my gosh, they had such a good selection. And since I was on vacation, I bought a lot. I picked up Noteworthy by Riley Redgate. This is a YA book about an a cappella group, and this girl at her boarding school pretends to be a boy to get into the all men's a cappella group, and we follow her learning about these boys and making friends with them and being like taken into this male inner circle. I've had it on a lot of these I've had on my wish list for a couple of years, and I've just never made the effort to buy them because there were other books that were more exciting. But then when I found them at this used bookstore for like $3, how can I say no to that? I grabbed Under the Light by Laura Whitcomb. This is the sequel to A Certain Slant of Light that I read for book research in like 2016 when I was writing my ghost story. And I was kind of interested in the sequel, but like not enough to buy it full price because I think I got the first one secondhand as well. So when I found this, had to grab it. I've been really interested. I'm still really interested to see the fallout of what happened in that first book, because in the first book, it is about this spirit that takes over this girl's body. Like, she doesn't really know how or why, but she is suddenly in this girl's body. The girl's spirit is kind of like tamped down or like upset and just kind of gone. And it's a very interesting ghost story. It's unlike any ghost story I've read. I picked up Things Jolie Needs to Do Before She Bites It, and this is by Kerry Winfrey. I cannot believe I found this. I love Kerry Winfrey. I want to feature her in one of my Fangirls Guide videos, so that's coming probably end of the year because I have to catch up on some of her stuff. But this is one of her first books, and I've been kind of looking at it online and it's not available in print where I can see, and so I was like, oh, I'll just buy the ebook at some point. But then I found this and it was so cheap, and so I am so excited that they had it. I like gasped. I audibly went and then I grabbed it and it was mine. So this says, things to do after my surgery: eat an apple without cutting it up first, kiss a guy, wear glow-in-the-dark vampire teeth, and smile. So this is about a character who has an underbite and she's going to get jaw surgery to fix it. She becomes obsessed with the idea that she could like die during this surgery. So fun fact, I had jaw surgery for an underbite, so I'm very excited about this now. I literally had no idea what it was about. I was just like, oh, Kerry Winfrey, buying it. I was super surprised to find Darkroom Etiquette by Robin Rowe. This is a new release, right? This came out in like end of 2022. I know it's not out in softcover yet. And this is about a boy who was kidnapped and held captive. I'm kind of obsessed with like kidnapping stories. Can I tell you why? No, I don't know why. I was able to find Some Assembly Required by Erin Andrews. This is a memoir about a trans boy and his memoir, his thoughts, and the coming of age of him figuring out that he was a boy and making that transition. I have had this on a wish list to do research for a novel. Listen, I have like 8 different novels always in the back of my head. This is research for one of them. A lot of the books with trans characters or trans nonfiction have since gone out of print. So if you have any good recommendations with like trans owned voices or trans nonfiction, let me know because I'm very interested. I grabbed The Geography of Lost Things by Jessica Brody. This is a story about grief. This is about a girl who goes on a road trip with her ex-boyfriend to sell her father's car. And her father has died. She's going to sell his car and they have to drive it up the coast of California, I believe, to the seller. I got Midwinter Blood by Marcus Sedgwick. I have heard good things about this. I've heard it's very folklore fairy tale. There is a remote island. It says 7 stories are unfolding on this island, so I think it takes place throughout time. There's a Viking, a vampire. I think it's very speculative. This book just looked cute, so I bought it. And that is Stay Sweet by Siobhan Vivian. And this is about a girl who works a summer job at an ice cream place, and then the grandnephew of the Stan's founder arrives to take over the business. And he's cute, obviously, but he's also threatening because what if he changes it? And she's worked there for several summers. So it sounds cute, and it's about ice cream, which I love. I picked up Layoverland by Gabby Nguyen. This is a reimagining of the afterlife or death that Limbo is basically an airport, and B is in purgatory. That's what it is. Not limbo, but purgatory, which is an airport. So if she ever wants to catch a flight to heaven, she has to help 5,000 souls figure out what's keeping them from moving on. So she needs to help 5,000 people figure out their purpose in order to get into heaven. And then I bought Each of Us a Desert by Mark Oshiro. This is kind of a fantasy story. I read the little blurb and decided I needed it. So this is about a character who is wandering the desert alone after speaking her village's stories into the wind, and she wants to share her heart with a kindred spirit. And then one night, a girl, the daughter of the town's murdering conqueror. There is a spider on the wall. No. Ah. All right, I got it. Stress. Anyway, they go on a journey through the desert. I think it has magic. I could not resist this book. My friend and I saw it, and I just had to have it. It's called The Gun Also Rises. You know, like The Sun Also Rises, by Sherry Harris. This is a cozy mystery. It's got a little cat on the cover, a typewriter, and it is about the manuscript that Hemingway lost in Paris in 1922. So it says, with someone willing to kill for the Hemingway book, Sarah has a race to catch the culprit, or the bell may toll for her. Amazing. Iconic. It's called a Sarah Winston garage sale mystery, and I think it's like the 4th in the series, but I'm just gonna read this one, and if I like it, maybe I'll go back. And then the last book I got, I was also very excited to find, is Still Watch by Mary Higgins Clark. I am reading this actually right now. I'm on page 80. I'm reading this for Books and Lala's channel members, like book club, and I have read a lot of Mary Higgins Clark in my day. This is about a TV producer who wants to do a story on this female senator, and then as she dives into the senator's background to make this documentary, she starts discovering strange things, and her own history is sort of darkened. It has a shadow looming over it, and I think they're probably connected. This next set of books is books that I have bought myself. So these first 3 I don't think I've hauled, but I think I have talked about 1 or 2 of them before. So that is Murder Can Mess Up Your Masterpiece and Murder Can Confuse Your Chihuahua by Rose Pressey. These are the first 2 in a cozy mystery series, and I grabbed the 3rd and 4th during the huge sale in February, so I finally grabbed the first 2. These are called the Haunted Vintage Mysteries, and it is an artist who sells her paintings at craft fairs with her chihuahua. So this first one takes place in Tennessee. This one takes place in North Carolina. So it sounds really fun, like she's moving around, meeting new characters in every book, and then I think that there are ghosts in the paintings, or she finds ghosts in these sales, and it just sounds bonkers, and I'm here for it. I grabbed Bookworm by Robin Yeatman. I believe this is a debut and literary mystery. So this is about a married woman, or unhappily married woman, named Victoria, who starts fantasizing about having an affair and notices this attractive man reading the same book she is, and then she starts fantasizing about like killing her husband, and then she maybe does, question mark. It sounds dark, it sounds funny, it sounds interesting. The next couple books I'm going to run through fairly quickly because these were all featured in my Come Book Shopping With Me. These are brand new, but you just saw them all, so we're gonna go through it quickly. I grabbed The Roughest Draft by Emily Wiverley and Austin Siegeman Broca. This is a romance about 2 authors who are contracted to write a book together. They had this huge falling out after their first book was a success, and now they are getting back together to write this book. It's kind of a friends to enemies to lovers thing, I believe, and I've heard nothing but good things. I grabbed Sundial by Catriona Ward. This is about a woman with two daughters, one who is very sweet and a little sickly, and one is terrifying and talks to the darkness and terrifies her mother. And she takes the girl on a journey to her hometown to figure out the mystery of like why her daughter is so weird. I mean, this author writes weird stuff, so I'm expecting a really uncomfortable read that will eventually be worth the payoff. I grabbed The Wild Ones by Nafisa Azad. This is about these spirits, these entities, these girls who have all been traumatized in some way or assaulted, and they try to save other girls from becoming like them. I grabbed Sea Change by Gina Chung. So this is about a girl who works at a mall aquarium, which sounds very sad, and her closest companion is Dolores, a giant Pacific octopus. So her life is hitting a real low, and then when Dolores is sold off, the last connection to her marine biologist father who passed away, Ro, the main character, goes into a tailspin. It sounds like a very introspective character study. One of the books I am most excited about, Throwback by Maureen Gu. This is brand new release. It is a time travel story, and this is about a girl who gets thrown back in time to the 90s. First of all, I'm kind of excited to read a historical book in the 90s, but specifically like teen girl 90s. The main character has to figure out how to fix things with her mother or be trapped in this analog world forever. I picked up Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q. Satanto. This is about a little old lady who one morning discovers a dead body in her tea shop. And instead of calling the cops, she thinks, I can do a better job solving this. So she tries to solve the mystery herself. It is kind of a cozy mystery, but it sounds a little off the rails. I grabbed Hope in the Dark, Untold History's Wild Possibilities by Rebecca Solnit. This is a nonfiction book about activism and having hope when the results of your actions are not immediately visible, and kind of the history of activism and the impact certain acts or certain people have had that, you know, they might not have seen in their time, and how to like keep hope alive and keep working toward a better future when it's so hard to see that. I grabbed In the Company of Witches by Aurelie Wallace. This is the first in a cozy series that takes place at a bed and breakfast. I had the second one, and so I bought the first. One of the witches can commune with ghosts. It sounds like a paranormal cozy, which I have not yet dipped my toes into, but these two series seem like we're getting into the paranormal cozy sphere, and I'm living for it. I picked up a Ruth Ware book, The Death of Mrs. Westaway. This is an inheritance story. I believe this man inherits a large sum of money and maybe a house, and he doesn't really know why Mrs. Westaway would give him these things. He doesn't really know her. I just figured it's time to read another Ruth Ware. I feel like summer for some reason feels very thriller, very murdery, because the heat makes me want to kill people. If you saw my come book shopping with me, you know that I nearly cried about this book. I have already read it at this point. No spoilers. It'll be in my May wrap up, but Winter Soldier Cold Front by Mackenzie Lee. I love Bucky Barnes. This is a Bucky Barnes origin story. I will say it is more of an alternate history. If you go in thinking of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's not that. It's definitely more comics based. But this follows Bucky as he joins a special operatives unit in London, trying to put people undercover. So that's one storyline of him getting involved with the war at 16. And then there's another storyline in 1954 where he is the Winter Soldier, and we follow... Is that a spoiler? I don't think it's a spoiler. We all know Bucky is the Winter Soldier, right? But it follows a storyline in 1954 where the Winter Soldier is interrogating someone and memories keep coming back, and we kind of follow these two storylines, and it is kind of heartbreaking. I can't talk about it. And then I grabbed The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. I'm hoping to read this soon. I already have a bookmark in it. This is about a woman who has been sending letters to her favorite author, and then he ghosts her. As she's trying to get over this, she gets this cute new neighbor that she's crushing on. He is who they were communicating with each other, and I don't think they know it, but we know it because it's on the back. It's giving You've Got Mail. And then, of course, when I went to pick up a Mother's Day present at Barnes & Noble, I picked up a book for myself, and that was Partners in Crime by Alicia Ray. This sounds kind of confusing, but I'm very into the vibes it's giving. So it's about a woman who goes to a matchmaker, and her first match, they maybe dated a bit, but now they're exes. And then somehow in Las Vegas, I'm just going to read you the part that made me buy it, okay? Because it's a romance, and I don't really understand this blurb, but apparently they get kidnapped together. And it says, suddenly, Naveen and Mira find themselves in a mad dash through Las Vegas to escape jewel thieves, evade crime bosses, and follow the clues to untangle the mess her family left behind. So her aunt leaves behind something that gets them into trouble. And then finally, the last couple books. I stopped at Barnes & Noble after the Mother's Day brunch that my family went to, and I bought more books. I went into this Barnes & Noble because it is one of the ones that is further from me, but they have a really good YA selection. They actually have a really good selection in general. Like usually if I'll go on Barnes & Noble website and see where the books I want are, this Barnes & Noble almost consistently has the books when none of the other ones near me do. So I went to this Barnes & Noble specifically for this book, Murder for the Modern Girl by Kendall Culper. This is a 1920s Chicago supernatural YA. So it says, a ravishing young mind reader stalks the streets at night in kitten heels prowling for men to murder. So we've got a female murderer. We've got a soft-spoken genius toils away in the city morgue, desperate to unearth the science behind his gift for shape. So we've got a murderer, we've got a shapeshifter, we've got 1928 Chicago, where gangsters run City Hall, jazz fills the air, and every good girl's purse conceals a flask. Like, that's all I need to know. I'm in it, I'm reading it, I bought it. So I went in just for this. And I came out with like 7 books. I grabbed We Unleash the Merciless Storm by Taylor K. Mejia. This is the sequel to We Set the Dark on Fire, which I have not read, but this came out a while ago and I was afraid like it would just be gone. So I bought it. It's a duology. I think it has a love triangle that maybe turns into not a triangle anymore, that turns into polyamory. I think it involves a boarding school with women trained to like be the best wives. It seems like alternate universe, but I'm not going to read the back of this because I have not read the first one. No spoilers. And then I was just wandering the mystery shelves and I found this, Dead in Gondola by Anne Claire. This is about a bookshop owner near a ski gondola. They're obsessed with Agatha Christie, and someone gets murdered, found dead on the gondola that leads to the ski resort. Then they get snowed in, and it just sounds super fun. It's got a little cat. It's got a little cat on the cover, so they've got a little cat in their bookshop, and I'm just obsessed. I picked up A Ghost in Shining Armor. This is a romance by Therese Behari. This is about a woman who can see ghosts. She's a psychic and she tries to help people move on, but then she randomly kisses a hot stranger who turns out to be a ghost. And he's trying to help her with, I think, a rift in her family. And then these last 2 I had to get because they were part of the buy one get one 50% off. I grabbed For Her Consideration by Amy Spalding. This is a sapphic romance. It is about a writer, but she has not written since a breakup 3 years ago. And then she manages celebrity email accounts, and one of the celebrities reaches out and has very specific ideas about how she wants her ghostwriter to respond to people. They start flirting and it sounds cute. I love writers. I love stories about Hollywood. Like, game over. And that other book is The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. This is about a man who is kind of writing a memoir, and he sent it to his friend to give him notes. So it does have like her notations in the side, which can be pretentious, but I am hopeful. It sounds really interesting. So he's a nerd and she is a cool girl. They start this like pallbearers club where they volunteer at poorly attended funerals to be pallbearers, and she like takes pictures of the bodies, and he starts to think that maybe something is off with her. Well, that's definitely over 40 books. So I've bought like 40 books in the last 2 months. Yikes. It's fine. Hopefully we're gonna chill, but I still have pre-orders coming in, so you never know. So that was my book haul. Let me know if you have read any of these or what you're excited about. And if you like this video, if you want to see me read any of these, you could like this video, you could subscribe, but really, you can do whatever you want. And I'll see you next time.